Hey everyone, this is Grim. I'm here with Ender. Ender, say hello.
Biggity mic check.
Doing a mic check. Can everyone hear us okay? I know we got a few people in chat. Let us know if you can hear us all right. Make sure we're coming in 5 by 5.
I am not hearing us yet.
Okay, not hearing us
There
yet.
it is.
There
Nope,
it is.
nope. There it goes.
Gotcha. How do we sound?
I sound pretty good. You sound good too, but I sound pretty good.
Oh, right. All right, everyone. We'll be back in just a moment. All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. I am Grim. With me is Ender tonight. We're here to talk about our Starjump Shipyard show that just aired, what was it, 2 days ago? This is going to be sort
Sunday.
of a, Sunday, I believe. Yeah. So this is going to be sort of a post-show discussion. We're going to talk about, obviously, the Drake Kraken. That's what the episode was about. The privateer, and then anything associated with that. So that might lead into a little bit of like carrier discussion, capital ship discussion, maybe it's merchant gameplay discussion or whatever. But whatever we talk about, we're going to try to focus it in on the Kraken, right? Specifically that ship. If you have a question, feel free to put that in brackets. We'll try to grab that from the chat. Or, if you have something you want to voice, we'd be willing to take some voice calls, so to speak, on Discord. We have a backstage room. I believe you can hop in if you can find that.
I will give you the backstage locator by adding everyone and community. There we go.
And if you do go into backstage, we may not pull you into live chat right that second.
That's not it.
Might take a minute, but Ender will pull you in. When he does pull you in, and we chat live with you, ask your question, say your comment, and then we'll respond to it, and then we'll probably move you back to the backstage area so that we can kind of keep the show moving. So don't feel like we're being rude or anything by pushing you out to the backstage. We're just going to try to keep it moving.
Bosun, you go sit in the corner, sir. I believe you're bringing that shit here. Come on now.
Well, we have a good number of people in chat. Thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. Thank you for stopping by. If you're not in the Starjump Discord, that's cool. It's super easy to join. Discord.gg/Starjump, STARJUMP. And then accept the rules. I will know when you do. And then I will make you available to join stuffs and suches.
And, to old Bosun's point, the great thing about Shipyard and what we're trying to do moving forward especially is Shipyard is not it's not to be confused with like a ship endorsement show. We're not trying to say the Drake Kraken is the best ship in the world, even though I think it is. It's all subjective. What I could like, someone else could hate. This show is going to analyze a ship, give you all the specifications, all the facts, all the known facts and stuff. We're going to kind of condense all that down to one concise video, 20, 30 minutes long at most. And because remember, a lot of the ship information, especially for old concept ships, it's spread all, over everywhere. There's Q&As.
It's pretty thin.
Yeah, there's jump point issues. There's developer interviews. We're trying to bring all that together for a nice, concise video, 20 minutes longish on a ship. Now, at some point, in the episode, we do like to get into some opinion-based stuff with the Drake Kraken. It was specifically in regards to issues that could prevent that ship or cause that ship some problems. And then with our next episode, it may be a little bit of a different opinion piece. Maybe we don't focus on issues, but maybe we focus on possibilities. So there may be one section of the episodes that has more of an opinion-based section, but most of the episodes are going to be strictly the facts of a ship so that someone who's possibly interested in buying that ship or pledging for that ship can decide if it's actually for them, if it's something they want to earn in game, if it's something they want to buy with real money, all that stuff. We're trying to get all that information down into one video.
Yeah.
So, big thanks to everyone. Yeah, go ahead, Ender.
Oh, sorry. I just want to clarify. At no point are we saying buy this ship.
Yeah.
It's all just, we're gathering the information. We're throwing a little bit of our opinions in there, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you listen to Grim talk, he gathered all the information, put it in one place. You did a phenomenal job, Grim.
I appreciate that. The video's been successful. And I definitely want to shout out to everyone in chat. I know you were all part of watching it and probably sharing it with your communities and your friends. We've had an amazing trajectory for that video in terms of views, but even more importantly than views, we gained a lot of subscribers on the channel, almost 600 subscribers just from this one video, which is unbelievable. Our channel had been stalled a little bit on subscribers for a while, so this has been a real great boost for us. And when we first put out this episode, one of the things I told Ender, I said, I'm going to put this episode out and see how it goes. If it goes okay and it has good numbers and it's worth it, I want to do this as a series. And not long after, I said, okay, this is doing great. I'm already going to start planning the second episode, and knowing that it's going to be a series now, Ender's going to come on board, part of the production team, handle editing, maybe some scripting, stuff like that. I will go ahead and let everyone know. Yep, go ahead, Ender.
Grim was so concerned about how it would do. He was like, yeah, I got an idea. I'm just kind of putting it together myself. We'll get it out. We'll see how it does, but I might want you to edit on it if it does well. And he sent it to me the day before, it went live, and I was like, bro, you got something.
Well,
you've got it.
It did pretty well. And the reason is because there's a ton of these type of videos out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of the videos are very opinion based, which again, there's nothing wrong with that, but they are very much focused on like how to use the Drake Kraken and, Kraken versus this ship or whatever, which I love those videos. I watch those videos a lot myself.
Oh, yeah.
But I wanted something that was more of a primer for people interested in the ship, but they don't know if they want to buy it or not. I like the focus being there. And so that being said, again, thank you everyone for helping making the episode so successful. It's actually one of our most successful videos, not necessarily in total views, but just in trajectory and subscribers, which is amazing. So thank you everyone in chat. Thank
you, Mateo Lego.
Yeah, thank you, Mateo. Again, put questions in brackets or comments in brackets. We'll try to bring those up. This is a very informal chat. This isn't like Starjump Station or something where we have a list of topics. We're just going to freeform it. We may flip to the video every now and then or flip to Fleet Viewer and stuff. But we're going to try to control the conversation or make sure your questions or comments are somewhat centered around the Kraken and or Kraken adjacent topics like carriers or capital ships or merchant gameplay or any of the gameplay associated with Kraken, Drake, whatever. This is not the episode, for example, to talk about the Misk Odyssey or something. So
right.
That being said, let me kind of go ahead and give everyone, in case you didn't watch the episode, which you obviously should have, the quick one-liner on the Kraken. That's how we'll start this discussion. The Kraken is Drake's first capital ship. It is classified as a light attack carrier. It's a capital ship that is really, I would say, really the only capital ship geared around general purpose gameplay. There is not one specific gameplay loop kind of attached to it, unlike the Orion or the Idris or the 890 Jump or what have you, or even the Javelin, something like that. It's the first capital ship that is really general purpose. I think that's what attracts people a lot to it, not only with its aesthetic design, but I feel like people do gravitate towards general purpose ships of all class sizes, particularly because I always think about it in terms of MMOs where it's like, if you're playing a druid or a shaman or any other hybrid class where you don't really know what niche you want to fit into, this kind of gives you open possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that being said, that is the Drake Kraken. Obviously, there's the privateer variant as well. We covered that. The Kraken, I've heard a lot of people, after we release the episode, some people that actually said, oh, the Kraken is essentially a JPEG. And one thing I want to point out at this phase of the Kraken's concept, oh, let's see. Sam says best beards in the verse. Well, that's obvious. Yeah, that's
that's a given.
Yeah, I want CIG to call us and model these beards into the game
for sure. For sure.
But I will say that the Kraken is modeled, and the model we use in Fleet Viewer, the model that you saw on the Kraken commercial, that is actually an in-game model, like and not just in-game model, but it's actually been optimized for the game engine. It's not just a cinematic model. John Crew alluded to this in one of the chats. He talked about how the current model for the Kraken is really targeted to be the model for the Kraken when it actually goes into development, because it's been optimized for the game. That does not mean there won't be changes and nips and tucks and stuff like that. But for all those people that say the Kraken's going to grow 40 meters or something, I really don't think so. I think the Kraken is going to stay its size. I think the exterior that they've modeled is the exterior. Again, some minor changes, but they wouldn't have gone through the trouble to make it game ready and optimized if they were just going to throw it all away. At least I truly think. Anyways, Ender, what's your overall thoughts on the Kraken as a ship? I know it's come up in several things that we've done, like Fleet Builders. We did a whole episode devoted to the Kraken.
It has.
But what's your thoughts on
initially, when you told me you bought one, my first thought was, why? I had seen this ship, but I was like, why? But more and more it comes up in the fleet builders that we do, in just typical conversation. And the more we talk about it, and the more we talk about how much this ship has, the more I really understand why you bought the ship and why you love it so much. It's a great ship. Now, it's not one that I'll ever buy, not because it's something I don't think is useful or don't think is good, but because I don't see myself having that big of a ship in my fleet just yet. And not only that, but I'd rather do some of the jobs that are going to come along with that ship.
Oh yeah. It's not an everyday ship. It's definitely not an everyday ship.
This is going to be a really good ship when it comes out. I do think that there's some answers we need to get, how the Dragonfly is going to come out. I kind of see there being almost this is going to sound ridiculous, but almost a torpedo tube type exit for those Dragonflies to come out and in.
Here's what we know at this stage. We know that there is as a matter of fact, I'm going to switch to it. Let me see if, let me look at technology at work here. Right up here, I've switched now to Fleet Viewer. Right up here, there's actually a sunroof that opens, and inside the Dragonfly Bay, which is right in this area, there's supposed to be some sort of elevator that can lift a Dragonfly up and also retrieve and pull it down. That's kind of what we know based off the concept art and stuff. We should point out, too, that Gavin Rothery, who we had on Starjump Station at one point, was the principal designer on the Drake Kraken, along with Paul Jones, who we also had on the show. The cool thing is if we ever had a dire question about the Kraken, I'm sure we know the right people to send a message to and ask. Did we have a question? Did I see a question go by?
We did. So we have, do you think they're going to change the Dragonfly to better support the Kraken, or the inverse? I assume the Kraken to better support the Dragonfly. I'm thinking more of how the Dragonflies will launch and in space and in Atmo.
That's a great question. And what's funny is and I'm glad Bosun asked this, because the one part of the video of the Shipyard episode that I actually do regret, because I don't think I went into enough detail on it, was the Dragonfly Bay. I kind of just said it's there, but I didn't go into a lot of details on it, because I've always thought of the Dragonfly Bay as a bit of an afterthought. I sort of feel like they were like, we have this big room here. What are we going to throw in it? Oh, let's throw some Dragonflies.
Yeah.
But the more I've thought about it, or I've actually seen a lot of people say or bring up the Dragonfly Bay when talking about the Kraken. So I guess there's a lot of interest in it. So I'll say I don't think they're going to change the Dragonflies at all, especially for the Kraken. I do think the Kraken's launch mechanism for the Dragonflies will adjust to what suits them well. And based off the new hover tech, I could see it being a large elevator lift that takes them up through the sunroof and pulls them down. If you look at the concept art, there is some concept art of the Dragonfly Bay room, and above it is some like light coming in that's supposed to be the outside area. Now, here's a question, or here's a comment I think that kind of goes along with that, in that how could the Kraken better suit the Drake Mule? And that's something I've been thinking a lot about. I could see the Kraken getting some doors. For example, the door that leads to the primary deck, which I'm actually going to switch back over here for a minute. There's a door on the primary deck of the Kraken right here. You can see it. It's this door here. It's a pretty large door that can be accessed. And I'm almost wondering if you could drive mules in and out of there, and those mules could drive on the deck of the Kraken, unloading cargo, all that kind of good stuff from ships parked on the deck. So not only that, but we do know the Kraken has a large drop-down elevator from its cargo bay that goes planet side. Could there maybe be a dedicated space for Drake Mules to operate from? Essentially what I'm saying here is I think the Drake Mule could be a great little parasite vehicle for the Kraken, like a utility vehicle. Like on any big naval ship, they're going to have forklifts and little tow vehicles and all that stuff everywhere.
So we got quite a few coming in. I'm gonna let's see. Ultimately, how many places do you think there will be to park dock Kraken once PTU goes fully live?
Well, I think a lot of places. I think any station, and then the Kraken can land planet side, and it can land in a capital hangar. I will say that the capital hangar size is just a little bit bigger than the Kraken. So landing a Kraken in a hangar planet side, or like at a landing zone, will be probably the same experience that a Carrack has landing in a large hangar. You're going to be scraping paint, but it will actually fit, believe it or not.
Yeah, so, I do want to preface, because some of these questions are very opinion based. We don't know any more than any of you guys for any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And so any answer we give is just theory crafting on our parts.
Yeah, and I will say too, not to interrupt the question flow, we'll get to the questions in order, but VMXEO did ask about a ground external cargo elevator that reaches the ground. Yes, and I'll zoom into that now. So this is cargo, what's referred to as Cargo 1, with Cargo 2 residing in here. Cargo 1 has a full drop-down, huge elevator. Based off my calculations, the elevator can fit like 4 tonks. It's a huge ground elevator that drops from the Kraken and I think its primary entry point into the Kraken when it's planet side. So just going to point that out. Next question, Ender.
Stand by. I am answering one question. Morpheus, welcome, first of all. Shipyard
thanks for giving Neo the red pill. We all appreciate
blue pill?
Was it the blue pill? No, it was the red pill, right?
Ooh, you take the red pill and you go back to sleep, I think. I think that's somebody help. Anyway,
follow the white rabbit.
You can click that. Follow the rabbit. You can click that link right there, and you'll be able to watch Shipyard. Grim did an amazing job on it. I think you'll love it. Give it a watch. Let's see, GearCon. How many places? Oh, we already answered that one. Will they give us any ships with the Kraken? Do you have any info, like the Carrack with the Ursa and Pisces? I don't see that one being one that will have any.
It's been asked in a general sense, I think, possibly about the Kraken, if I remember correctly. I am like a sponge for Kraken, even the briefest mention by developers, and I think, at least to now, it has no addition. Now, if it was me, the Idris comes with the Argo MPUV, I believe. With it, I personally feel like the Kraken should get 1 Dragonfly and 1 Mule with it. I think it should be part of the package. It's an expensive ship with an expensive pledge price. I think you should get those 2 utility ships with it, personally. There's actually a lot of ships I would like to see. I mean, even ships like the Phoenix, you're going to get the RSI links with it. You know what I mean? Which is an upcoming ground vehicle. You're going to get the Carrack comes with the Ursa and the C8X. So I think the Carrack is a perfect ship to qualify for something like that. You know, and I would probably say the same about a number of vehicles or a number of ships.
Let's see here. Coming up next, we've got sorry, just changed some stuff. Do you think the Dragonfly was the original escape pod? No, I think it was just they wanted dragonflies on there.
Yeah.
I don't see the Dragonfly being any good as an escape pod because they'll get blown up pretty quick. They can't go far fast.
Yeah. So here's a weird bit of info that everyone seems to miss. Everyone, including CIG, actually, people say, are there escape pods on the Kraken? The answer is always no, there are no escape pods on the Kraken. You're supposed to use the ships that are on the deck as your escape pod. You're supposed to run out into the deck through that big door, get in the ship and leave, which is probably fine. However, if you read the jump point issue that features the Kraken, which is called, I forget what it's called. Anyways, it's the Kraken episode. I think it's from October, November 2018. If you read that jump point issue, that's very clearly stated, I believe by Paul Jones, that the entire bridge area was redesigned to accommodate escape pods. It's only one sentence, but I always thought that was interesting. And then if you couple that with something John Cruise said at one of the Invictuses about 2 years ago when he said the Kraken would be getting a medical suite, he said that we'll probably make further adjustments because of that ship's size and prominence. It deserves a lot of things that we hadn't totally scoped out yet, i.e. a medical bay. Even though the Kraken doesn't list a medical bay, it's definitely getting one, he said. So
thank you, Captain Kern, for that question. Ryan Van Zant says, what are your thoughts on the Kraken not being able to fit military components on it? Is this true? And if so, how do you see the capital it in a capital fleet combat? So quick answer on that, and Grim give far more detail than I'm probably able to. They pretty much said that's not a thing anymore. In one of the ISCs, I want to say.
I think you're right.
They mentioned it, that you know, they're no longer unable to put military items on non-military fleets. So I never saw that, but I've had numerous people say that that is the case now, that restriction is no longer valid. So I think Ender's 100% right. What I can say is that they have publicly said that the Kraken will launch, like its flight-ready components will be grade C industrial components. And then obviously you can upgrade from there. So what I would personally like to see is I personally would like to see military components be great for military type operations, but I think if you were running the Kraken in more of an industrial role, like you know, primarily using it to refuel ships, repair ships, and all that kind of stuff, I personally would hope that industrial components would be better for it. You know what I mean? I don't know if CIG is making that distinction with components, but I think they should. You know what I mean? Otherwise, everyone's just going to put military components in everything. You know what I mean? It'd be cooler if there was some. Well, right now, I actually tend to put for my coolers. I tend to put the, what are they? Starts with a C. I can't think of the word. Not civilian, but the other one.
Oh, yeah.
God dang it.
Is it commercial? No.
Yeah.
Commercial.
It might be commercial. I put those on rather than military because they have higher cooling.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
But
so maybe there will be pluses and minuses there.
Yeah. I think that there's going to be pluses and minuses to them. And it's going to be more apparent in the future. Here's the thing. Not everybody's going to just throw military parts on it, because that might not be the best thing for the ship.
Mhm.
Depending on what you're looking to do with it, you might want stealth parts that are actual stealth. But right now, there's nothing like that. And
Yeah.
we don't know what it's going to look like in the future, but I can only assume that it's going to be vastly different than what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Competition, yeah, that might be it. Competition, thank you. That is it. Let's see.
And remember, everyone, if you do have a question or comment that you want us to address,
feel free to hop it backstage.
Yeah, put those in brackets as well, so that we're
Please,
easier to see. If you didn't put it in brackets, feel free to do that now.
The blue pill was sleep, by the way. Right.
Oh, okay.
How would the Kraken deploy the Dragonflies when landed? Probably the same way as it does normally, Sonny. I mean, it doesn't have to do anything different. They hover.
Yeah, people drop hover quads from orbit practically, and people live. So I think when you're on the ground, you could just get the Dragonflies out and up. Now, I think to get back in, they're going to have to go in the ground elevator cargo entrance.
BMXio, I'm going to throw you out of this chat now. Thank you.
I will say this. The Kraken's cargo area, I really think this is one place that CIG kind of missed a great selling feature, is they don't have any concept art that shows quite how big the ground elevator is. The ground elevator is huge, and it's interesting because the ground elevator lifts up into cargo 1, but then there's what looks like a hole from cargo 1 to cargo 2. So I think that elevator goes all the way up to cargo 2. But here's what's interesting about it. Cargo 2 is cavernous. I mean, huge, to the point where on the privateer, the cargo 2 is actually able to hold all 8 private stores, all 8 of the private stores' cargo spaces, and supposed to hold like a bar and stuff. So it's a huge area.
Your lordship has asked a question. It's actually not the first time I've seen a question like this. Your lordship. He says, do you think the privateer shop can hold a Titan suit to have patrolling as security? I don't think security is going to be as important. Personally, I don't think security is going to be as important in these shops as everybody thinks they will. I think the cargo space, personally, that's going to get taken up is actually just the space of the shop itself. I don't see.
He brings up an interesting thing, actually, and I'm gonna turn on the video here. I'm gonna go to a certain point of the video here. Hopefully, I can find it relatively easily. Bear with me here. Where is it here? Sorry, I'm scrubbing. Yes, right there. Okay. So I've stopped now on a frame of the Kraken with all of its entry points. And the Kraken has a lot of entry points, probably more than most people realize. It has 4 extra small pad airlocks, bottom cargo elevator, 2 docking collars, 2 internal hangar doors, 1 large deck door, and the Dragonfly Bay roof. That's a lot of entry points to this ship. And that kind of leads me to think, when it comes to security, especially onboard security, which is something people don't consider a lot of times when they're thinking of crewing a ship, right? They go, I'm going to run it with all NPCs. Here's something to think about.
You're not.
If you're running a privateer, if you want to be careful with security, I'm guessing you'd want to kind of park the privateer in an armistice zone, wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Close to a station, to be protected by the no firing armistice zone. Because if you're outside of that, I guess there's nothing really preventing someone from firing inside the Kraken.
There's not.
Yeah.
You could absolutely kill the... I'm just wondering, are you going to be able to kill the
NPC store
NPC owners? And I feel like you're going to be able to kill them, but
I think you probably could if you're not in an armistice zone.
Are you able to kill them and steal the items from the shop? Or will the shop almost, I guess it wouldn't despawn. It wouldn't make sense for it to despawn. Shit.
These are great. I mean, these are good merchant gameplay questions that are unknown. And it's a really good question. I mean,
I would say that The height, I don't remember the height of the Titan suit. I could
I
bring
don't
it up
think we
real
know,
quick, but
technically.
I
I
don't
mean,
think
we
do.
have a speculation in Fleet Viewer, but I
Yeah,
don't think we fully know. I will say
maybe
this: I think
depending on the height.
I think it's at minimum 2.5 times taller than a player model. That's
I
my
would say
thinking.
that would be accurate because of the way that it looks like you're
Yeah.
going to fit into it. I would
Yeah.
say, yeah, that would be accurate. So 12 feet.
Yeah, and
Easy.
I do think that you could easily fit a Titan suit or a bunch of
16
Titan
feet.
suits in the Cargo 2 Bay and Cargo 1 Bay area, which will be where the stores reside. But you probably won't be able to get them in the elevator and up to the black market stores. And yes, MCD, you are correct. I do believe CIG has said that they eventually want armistice zones to go away. I'm personally still a little
But
iffy if they're actually ever going to follow through with that. And but
I think if
that
they
being said,
do go away, it will be a higher security area so that if something does
You're
happen,
right,
if
yeah.
somebody pulls a gun, if somebody, you're going to have security swarm that area quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can fight against the security pretty easily, obviously, right now, but we can't talk in terms of now, as Grim and I have said over and over before this. I think it's going to be a lot more difficult in the future.
Yes.
Just because it has to be a lot more difficult in the future.
Yeah.
Think of any security, any guard in any city in World of Warcraft. 9 times out of 10, you don't want to get in a fight with them because you're dead, even at the top level. So,
I did see another comment by VM XEO saying, "Do you think the Kraken will be ready for release around the time Pyro is launched?" Definitely not. Yeah, definitely not.
I hope he was joking.
However,
that's why I told him I was going to throw him out. By the way.
However, let me say this about that comment. I do think it's quite interesting that the Kraken keeps popping up in CIG cinematics.
Yeah.
It popped up in one of the Galaxy cinematics extremely briefly, but it is definitely there, and it popped up obviously famously in the Scorpius cinematic. And I think that tells us something. And here's what I think it tells us is that in Squadron 42, obviously, the big baddie is the Vandal, right? And we're going to face Vandal ships, Vandal capital ships and all that stuff. They're going to be the big baddies. But in Star Citizen, we have a lot of pirate space in systems like Pyro that are supposed to be controlled by pirates, and we don't really have the big baddie ship for human pirates. It probably is going to be the Kraken. So what I will say is I could see them developing or at least getting the exterior of the Kraken in as a bad guy, sort of like the Idris Xeno threat. That's an Idris with no interior. I could personally see them getting in, not for the release of Pyro, but eventually for Pyro and systems like it. Because there's not really a good appropriate ship for them for the pirates or the bad guys to run. Like they really shouldn't be in an Idris or a Javelin. I mean, they can, obviously the Xeno threat, they steal an Idris, but they steal one. It's not their ship. You know what I mean? And we see that when they do still steal a UEE military ship, all hell gets broke. They're a big target. You can tell the UEE wants to destroy them. So in my opinion, the pirate groups out there, not that I really like the whole Drake associated with pirate thing, it gets kind of old, but I do think they need a big baddie ship, and I think the Kraken would be a great ship to play that role.
Bosun asked, do we think that the Kraken is a Squadron 42 asset? Now, we were just talking about this too.
Yeah.
I know that you mentioned that you think it could potentially be a Part 2 asset. Was that accurate?
Yeah, kind of. I've heard through the grapevine, and I would say I put no real stock in this grapevine, but I have heard that there was some Squadron 42 considerations for the Kraken. I don't totally know what that means. I do personally think, again, going back to my previous chat, I do think we need a ship, either the Kraken or like the Kraken, essentially a place for pirate fleets to call home, or human outsiders to call home. Because one of the big things about about capital ships in Star Citizen is that they're predominantly UEE military ships. The only two, I guess, that really aren't are the Orion, which is a mining ship. Why would I, you know what I mean? It's an industrial, it's a giant tool, screwdriver essentially. And then the 890 Jump, which doesn't seem right for the pirate people to be operating. So again, it's about the Kraken sort of just being the right ship to play that lore role. So I could see them developing it.
Although the 890 Jump would be that perfect get them off their guard ship. You know what I mean?
Especially if it had
890 Jump, you're like, hey, party, let's go. Yeah. And then it's
especially if it had some customizations to it, like some graffiti on the side and some like modifications made to it. Could be actually really cool.
Yeah, there you go. See?
What else we got?
Same model that was sitting outside Loreville window.
Yes, VertXD says it's sitting outside, and we show that. I'll actually bring it up in the video here. Yes, this is a frame of it sitting outside the Loreville window during the CitizenCon 2948 keynote that Chris Roberts headed up. When they're actually showing off the new redesigned Consolidated Outland Mustang and Loreville for the first time. They're showing both those things for the first time. When they come out of the hangar, the Kraken is actually sitting there in game, like on a landing pad, and it's got a Buccaneer. And so what you're seeing in this frame here is the actual game asset of the Kraken in Star Citizen, like fully in Star Citizen, no trickery. It's there. So it's kind of cool to see it. Yeah. And you can see there by the Mustang sitting there, you get a good idea of the Kraken size. She's a big ship.
She is a big ship.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So if you ever go watch that keynote video though, and it's a long one. It's about an hour and a half long. It's of Chris Roberts talking through someone playing it on stage. It's about halfway through that they eventually spawn one of the Mustangs and fly out of Loreville for the first time. It's really cool because that is where, again, they're showing the Mustang for the first time. They're showing Loreville for the first time. They show the Kraken in game. It's kind of a really cool moment. And this is why I've asked actually in the last few IAEs or Invictuses, I think it'd be really cool for Invictus because Invictus is so military focused. You know how Drake always does that event that's on Loreville? It's like a second event, the Defense Con.
Yep.
That's why I think it would be so cool for them to have the Kraken park back outside because it's kind of like saying, hey, we have big ships too. So,
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Anything else?
Discovery, we're not really, it's not our jobs to talk about what ship they name what and what they call them. I think the Cutlass works actually really well as a fighter personally, so it's kind of an all-around ship.
And I think that comes from the Cutlass's original design, because remember the Cutlass got redesigned. It got much bigger, it turned into a much bigger ship. If you go back to the original Cutlass, it had a little storage area, but it was tiny. It was more of a little fighter. You know what I mean? But when the Cutlass grew, I think that's what then birthed the Buccaneer. They realized then that Drake needed a combat thing. I'm not totally sure of the timing there, but I think I'm right on that.
And they built the best one yet.
Yeah.
Any ship that you're sitting right next to an explosive canister on both sides, I think is a perfect ship, especially when you can turn your head and look at it. And
one thing I will say in regards to the Kraken and specifically Drake in general, since we're talking about the Cutlass a little bit, is that a lot of people wonder if there's going to be like further synergy, and I think this was actually asked, further synergy between Drake ships and the Kraken. I actually believe someone did ask a developer one time if there was going to be any synergy between the Drake Kraken and the Corsair, and the developer said no, not really. They're just kind of ships, and the Corsair is a Drake ship. But I actually don't think that's true. The Corsair, think of it like this: the Corsair actually would not be able to land on the Kraken except for its wings fold up, so it perfectly fits on the Kraken. So that in and of itself is a great synergy. The Cutlasses fit perfectly on the medium pads. The Buccaneers fit perfectly on the extra small hangars. So they kind of do. You know what I mean?
I think that Drake I think that the design language for Drake is very synergy by accident, not by design.
I agree with you.
Where you've got the RSI. Oh God, I can't believe I'm going to have a discussion about this. It's fine. The RSI constellations have that perfectly synergistic. Anyway, the perfectly synced snub fighter. That goes into the back.
Yeah, the P-52.
The Kruger.
The Kruger ship.
That's by design. I don't think Drake does it by design. I think they fit perfectly because it's Drake. And they're so minimalistic with everything that they do that it's going to go together kind of like a Lego almost perfectly. So that's kind of how I feel about it.
Yeah, I do see Crazy Ghost Hunter says you can make money by charging players to land on your Kraken. This is the number one reason why I personally, and this is an opinion, why I think the Kraken is so interesting, because it has the most opportunities for emergent gameplay, and that. Sure, you could charge people to land on your Kraken, charge them to get fuel. On big systems like Nyx, remember, Stanton, I think, is 4 or 5 AU, okay? Nyx is like 39 AU or something like that. Just think about that for a minute. The Kraken would make a great way station. If you just wanted a passive gameplay loop, go park your ass in Nyx and just send out beacons saying, hey, we need gas, need refuel. Yeah, I'm here.
So a couple of questions here.
Yeah, hit me with them.
Lordship, we're going to get to yours in a moment, but I do want to get to one that's actually, has CIG stated how these big ships will be managed in game? Will they stay in game when the owner is offline? Will an org have to make sure there's always someone on board so it doesn't despawn?
Yep,
so
can answer that.
Yeah, I know that the Kraken is not one of the ships that will stay in game. My curiosity is, why would you want it to not despawn? What would you have?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want it to despawn?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. However, you can game the system a little bit. So according to the developers, the Kraken will operate just like the Idris and just like the Javelin, meaning with the owners online, the ship is there and persistent. If the owner logs off and no one else is on the ship will despawn. If the owner logs off, now it may not despawn right away, by the way. It could stay active for a minute or two. However, if the owner logs off and someone else is still on the ship will persist. It will persist. When that other player, whether an org mate, a stranger, whoever, once they leave the ship will despawn. If someone parks their ship on the deck of the Kraken and then that person logs off for the night, but the Kraken's owner is still driving the Kraken around, that person's ship will stay on the deck until the Kraken despawns. And when the Kraken despawns, that ship that was on the deck will be returned to that player's hangar. So just to tell everyone how that works.
Your Lordship asks, so what's the backstory to the Fatty Shack Kraken on Hangar Link?
The Fatty Shack Kraken. Why don't we head over to our fleet view and we will unlock our canvas and we will add the Fatty Shack Kraken so everyone knows what we're talking about.
I will answer the last part of your question while he's doing that, Lordship. No, we are not allowed to do that.
What's the second part?
He asked if you take commissions for other Kraken variants.
We don't. We did when Fleet Viewer was under development. We've kind of stopped on commissions. We do have a number of supporter ships in Fleet Viewer. We've kind of stopped on that. There may be special scenarios in the future where we do, but for right now it's paused. The Fatty Shack Kraken was actually a request by our very own Starlet. And it was, I think, the last ship added to Fleet Viewer, if I remember correctly.
It was.
She essentially told me that Fat Lou, who she's in a lot of communities with, I think Yacht Club and I forget who else.
Oh, that man is everywhere.
Yeah, so
man is everywhere.
They wanted a Kraken that was like detailed out to him, and it was one of those situations where Starlet requested it, so I wasn't going to say no. Obviously, Starlet is, a big reason why there is a fleet viewer, and did a ton of work. So, of course, I wanted to do something to, that was one of her requests. So that's how we executed the Kraken Fatty Shack. It only took about a day to get it mocked up, and we're pretty happy with it.
Yeah, real happy with it. Real happy. It's such a fun little addition.
It's kind of ridiculous, but in so many ways.
Yeah, you'll see other variants like that. Again, we used to do it, and there are some that are more in memoriam for some of our former.
I can say
members.
Exactly. I can say that there probably is a fun variant of the Kraken coming to Fleet Viewer very soon. It's something I worked up a while back. It's not a silly one. It's actually kind of a serious variant that I think could be really cool, and I'm going to put it in there just in hopes that CIG sees it and goes, that would be a good variant. So yeah.
Oh no.
What else we got?
Speaking of synergy, doesn't that door below the bridge window look just like the front door of a cat? Possibly synergy docking for a cat?
It is. It's smaller. The cat is bigger than that door.
There you go.
Yes, it's probably about double the size. Actually,
I'm not surprised that there is a design similarity to the doors. I was actually pretty sure it was smaller, but I didn't want to say so.
Yeah, it's
because I wasn't 100%. But
I will.
They pull items from multiple, ships to build out other ships. Corridors. They change the size. They change the dimensions.
I'll pop in real quick here. Let me throw that on HD. Here you can see the Caterpillar. This front area is quite a bit bigger than this door here. So I don't think there's no real synergy there. But the Caterpillar will fit with some creative landing on the main deck that has been shown. While I don't think it's on YouTube anymore. Oh, I'm not even showing it, am I?
I was about to ask. I'm not seeing it.
Sorry about that. I guess I didn't show the Fatty Shack either. But either way, the Caterpillar's front, if you see here, is quite a bit bigger than that door. So they're not the same size. But the Caterpillar can land on the large deck of the Kraken with some creative landing. You just have to kind of land it at a little bit of an angle.
Creativity.
Yeah. What else we got?
Old Bosun says Super Kraken. You heard it here first.
Well, it's in my opinion, and I'll say this, that the Kraken really is, and I don't believe this is speculation. I do think that the Kraken is the superior carrier over the Liberator and over the Idris. I know the Liberator is not really a carrier, but the Idris, as shown in our video, which is, let's see here, do I have that ready? The Idris, has that issue where ships need to come in and out in a linear fashion from its hangar. It's actually pretty snug in there. And the Kraken allows for ships to land not only in any order, but from any angle. I mean, they can land, turn the opposite way. They can head out from the left, head out from the right. And in the chaos that is a video game, you're going to want that kind of flexibility.
Yeah. So Vert. Vert says he's talking about the door on the front where the prongs come out. Is there a door on the front that I didn't know about?
Not on the, let's see here. I'm assuming if he's talking up front of the bridge, there's no door right here. I see these prongs he's talking about that kind of look like the Caterpillar's little front prongs, but there's no door there, at least not in the file that I saw. No sense of a door or entryway there.
Yeah.
The door into the primary kind of control tower area is this door right here. You can actually see if I zoom in, it's a little, gosh, I'm still not showing it. I'm an idiot. Sorry.
I was about to say,
Yeah,
I'm
sorry.
not seeing
Call
it.
it out. Feel free to interrupt me. But this door, so he's talking about these prongs right here and thinking that this is a door under here. There's no door here. It's at least not that I see in the game files. It's just these like sensors. That's all they are. This is the only door to get into the actual control tower of the Kraken. I mean, from the deck. You could obviously go in through the docking collars, which are down here. It's got a port and starboard side one. But this door is the only other door. And you can actually see, if you look carefully here, you can see the railings here. So it gives you a sense of how tall someone will be. Those are the railings that kind of lead up to the door. So, yeah. What else we got? Any other questions as we're getting to the tail end here of the show?
Like some of the early designs, I like to see the size difference between the RSI Polaris and an Anvil Hawk. Hey, Ken, here's the perfect place to do it.
Yes.
Good way for us to pimp it.
We got the perfect tool for you.
www.starjumpfleetviewer.com. I don't even have to, we don't have to do it here. You can do it yourself just by going to that website right there.
Really cool tool. You get a sense of all that.
Fleetviewer.com, see if it'll link up. Yeah,
Crazy
Ken,
Ghost Hunter.
Enjoy Fleet Viewer. That's what we're using right now. If you're looking at Grimm's screen, he is literally using Fleet Viewer, which we have, put into website form for that very, very reason. For us to be able to compare. I now know what ships will land in the back of my Galaxy. I'm planning my fleet. Can't wait. And I don't believe my arrow is going to fit. And I'm a little sad about that.
So, VMXEO said he liked some of the early design explorations of the Kraken, and hope we get to see those in the future. So this is one of those. It's a little small, but if you look really carefully, you can actually see right in this area, you can see a Cutlass Black. And they're really interesting designs. You can see right here, it looks like a little phallic thing sticking out the side. That's actually a Buccaneer about to fly out. That's a hangar right there. So it's a really interesting design. I actually do dig this. I would love to see this I think this would actually make a really cool looking industrial miner, like industrial salvage ship, like another, or refueling, or just some sort of capital sized industrial ship, whether it's salvage or mining or refueling. I guess we got a lot of that already in the Starfarer and the Reclaimer, but it looks like it could serve some sort of industrial role. I really dig it.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. Anything else here? Did we miss any questions, Ender?
None that I can see.
Okay.
Ken is saying he's thinking 2 Hawks might fit in the Polaris. Remember, possible. There's a door. It's possible, but
it's probably likely, but I'm not sure how long the Hawk is in its landed mode. That's the tricky thing. That'd be a VMXEO question.
Would.
But this has pretty much been the post-show discussion. This is what these are going to be going forward. I think in the future, we are going to do them probably right after the premiere, or maybe just the next day. This one waited a little bit longer than normally. Ender, I appreciate you coming on board for this first one.
Of course.
The plan is moving forward that more people are going to be involved in the execution of the episodes. I know Ender wants to edit them, but I also may get Ender to help me do some of the script writing and stuff. I can go ahead. And I can go ahead and announce what the next episode is, maybe the next couple of episodes, because I'm already starting to plan and pull assets. So our next episode will be a full Shipyard deep dive on the Misk Endeavor. We're even going to do some really cool speculation in there, some fun stuff. If you've seen past Starjump Station episodes, you possibly have seen some of the visuals I'm going to show in it, because we did a lot of really cool visuals for our Endeavor Starjump Station episode. But there's going to be some additional new stuff as well, which is going to be really cool. That
Turtle Herd just asked a question. Not sure if you want to answer it. Is there any access to the air car from the main deck besides the main tower door?
Yes. Yes. And I'll get to that real quick. And Sivan, that's a great question. I don't know how much it would be. I would imagine a lot.
Yeah, it's really hard right now to. I don't think the numbers that we're looking at are going to be the numbers for these
No,
ships.
well, that's a good point too. Actually, that's a great point.
Sivan. I don't think we can speculate on that with any near degree of accuracy. In all honesty,
yeah. Real quick,
I think those are going to change.
To answer Turtle Herd's question, so this is a point in the video where I do a tour of the cross section of the Kraken. You'll notice these areas I've highlighted. So these are the 4 starboard side extra small decks, entry points at top, and then there's an elevator shaft that goes all the way down to the air car. However, while not visible in the cross section and while not visible in the game model, they have said that the primary deck will have, I think, 2 elevators that go from the deck down to the air car. Essentially what they said is every single landing pad will have access to the air car so that you can load cargo from the ship and on the deck all the way to the cargo bay. So 100% yes on that question. As a matter of fact, that's a main kind of function of the air car is to get cargo from cargo bay to all 6 landing. Actually, yes, all 6 landing pads and the 2 internal hangars. So yes.
Mateo says the cost will be 10 times more in the end for all the ships. I don't think that's accurate. I don't think that they're going to be 10 times more. In fact, I think some will lower and some will.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some ships that need an adjustment in terms of some of them are too expensive in game, and then some are way too cheap. Like they're all over the place. Yeah. This is why you hear a lot of times people say do not buy like ground vehicles or real money because they're so cheap. Like you might buy a ground vehicle for like $60 or real money, but in game, the UEC that it costs to get it is actually only like $10 worth of AUEC. Yeah. So it makes way more sense to buying it. So there's a lot of price adjustment. It's complicated.
Yeah. Real complicated. Hard to get any degree of accuracy with that right now, especially. So
CNC, thank you for sharing the video, the Kraken video around. Really appreciate everyone who's done that. So big salute to you on that. Again, we've had an absolutely crazy amount of views on it in just 2 days. I think we're already close to 22,000 views. But even more importantly than that, we've gained a ton of subscribers, and that's important for our channel.
Helpful.
Because whenever we do post a video, those subscribers get alerted. So that's key. And this one video alone added 600 subscribers in 2 days. That's incredible. Incredible. So, that's going to be mostly it. We had a great turnout tonight. I think we had, what we have in chat here, we had 65 people watching. So that was really great. If you have not seen the Starjump Shipyard episode, it is in the it's actually in the more info section of this live stream. Just click down there. There's a YouTube link. Watch the video. It's about 20 minutes long. This is going to be a new series that Starjump does, and I think we're going to put a lot of effort into it, honestly, because it's had such a great reaction. We plan on doing the Endeavor. We plan on doing the Crucible. We plan on doing the Perseus, the Javelin, the Idris. We're going to go through all we're going to primarily focus on unreleased ships only because those are still ships that people may be making speculative purchases on, where the in-game flyable ships, you have a clear idea of what you're getting. That doesn't mean we'll never do an analysis of flyable ships. It just means that we're likely to focus on this. We also may occasionally not focus on just one ship. We may focus on a class of ships, right? So we might do a future episode on mining ships, right? And expose those, whatever, or medical ships or what have you, so you can find the best ship for medical needs. We have a lot of ideas, but I also want to point out, if you haven't watched our other show that we host on Ender's Twitch, and it's also on our YouTube, which is called Fleet Builders, I think our very first episode was centered on the Kraken. And
it was
it? Yeah. And the Kraken episode of Fleet Builders is fantastic. It was a lot of fun to do, and it shows you how you can use Fleet Viewer to start kind of planning your ship usage, needs, and how you would maybe use the Kraken. So, CNC, thank you for that sub. Appreciate that. Really appreciate that.
All of you guys, thank you for the subs. Thank you for just general, keeping up with us and enjoying time with us. We love to spend time with the community to talk to you guys. And yeah, so I'm going to put a few links out before we go. Let's see, starjumpfleetviewer.com.
Thank you, Vasily. Thank you, Ulf, everyone who subbed or something. Sivan, I know the video made you sub. I really appreciate that because we had actually been stalled on new subs for quite a while. And I was kind of like, what is our problem? We're not a consistent video content thing, but we're a part of our big 2023 initiative, I guess, if you can call it that, Starjump, is to get back to doing regular content. And we are doing that. So this Sunday, we are doing a Starjump station episode. Make sure you tune in for that. The following week, I believe our plan is to do a Fleet Builders episode. We actually already started talking about what the next Fleet Builder is going to be. And I'm actually really excited for this one. Really, really excited for this one.
I think we're going to have some fun ones with that one.
Yes.
Where is it?
Cool. So yes, Ender has posted the link to Fleet Viewer. Definitely go play around with Fleet Viewer if you haven't. We're going to be doing some additions to Fleet Viewer really soon. He's posted both his and my Twitch. Go over there, give us a follow on Twitch, both of our channels, because we do Starjump content on there from time to time. We do Fleet Builders on Enders. We both stream on there from time to time, and it's a good place to still interact with us. And interact with Starjump people. I know VMXEO is in chat. VMXEO is a member of Starjump, and we also have Starlet, who obviously was a huge part of Fleet Viewer, just like VMXEO was.
Huge.
You will see VMXEO on Starjump Station with us. Really love his insights and stuff into the project because I think he comes at it from a slightly different angle than us. And that's one of the great things about Starjump is we all kind of come at it a slightly different angle. Make sure you join our Discord if you haven't. Make sure you read those rules and agree to the rules. Remember, the rules thing is, I actually just learned this, Ender. Rules are something you have to have for a public Discord. I didn't know that.
They are. And the purpose of them, and the purpose that I will send out messages to those who don't accept the rules right away. The reason that I do that is because it allows us to keep bots from messaging you from our Discord.
Exactly.
They have a very difficult time accepting the rules, and so they can't message you so long as they are in our Discord.
And I wanted to put two other things out: one about Discord and one about the Kraken to kind of close it out. With Discord, if we correct you on a rule, or if we say, hey, I see you posted this in general, we're moving it to this channel or a different channel, don't get offended. We're just trying to do our due diligence and keeping the Discord lean and mean and on topic. So never get offended at that stuff. We do like to kind of run a tight ship when it comes to that stuff so that you can find information better and get, what you're going for better. Now, the last thing I will say about the Kraken, and we're going to talk a little bit about this on Starjump Station this Sunday, is the Kraken is an expensive ship, okay? It is, I believe, 1,400, you got it right there, 1,400 war bond, 1,650 standalone price. It is not a cheap ship. And the privateer is even more. I believe the privateer is like 1,750 war bond, $2,000 standalone. I want to make the Starjump and specifically my opinion on this very clear. I am neither advocating for you to buy this with real money nor to not buy it with real money. Everyone is adults, or I at least think you are. You can all manage the money the way you want. If you want to take your money, put it in a glass jar and throw it off a volcano, be my guest. It's your money. I didn't earn it. Do what you want. I just spent $4,300 repairing our car the other day. I looked at it as throwing money away, but I had to do it. The bottom line is, if the Kraken is something you really want and it's worth that to you and you want to support the project, by all means, pledge for it. It's your money. It's your decision. If it's something you want to make as an in-game, earn in-game type goal, it's a fantastic ship to be your org in-game goal ship to earn. It's all those things. Don't be when it comes to any Star Citizen ship, you're never going to see me say you shouldn't buy it, only earn it in game, or you should buy it. I'm never going to do that. It's your money. You're an adult. Spend your money how you want. I don't really care. The other thing I want to mention, and I'll bring this up on Starjump Station 2, is that in my opinion, all Star Citizen ships are concept ships. Take the Carrack, for example. The Carrack, in my opinion, is as much a concept ship as the Kraken is. While the Kraken is just a model or JPEG, the Carrack is, yes, a flyable ship, but it still does pretty much nothing it's spec to do. It's still, if you buy a Carrack now, you're still buying you're still making a speculative purchase, no matter what you do. So any investment you make with these big concept ships, remember, it's speculative, and you have to take a certain amount of risk on when you do that, and you and only you can be the judge of what is worth it or not worth it. So
100%.
All right, that's going to be
it. Thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out. We're going to do these every time we release a Shipyard episode. And do not forget, I'm going to put out the sign-up thing where you alert probably tomorrow. We will be having a Starjump station this Sunday. I really hope you all can join us. That's going to be it.
Before we cut off, CNC, go to starjumpfleetviewer.com, load them up there, put them on there, find out, and then post a picture for us. I want to see how many you can fit.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, everyone. We had a lot of fun. Thank you, Ender, VMXEO, I know's in chat. Everyone in chat, thanks for your support. Salute to you all, and we'll see you very soon.